So, like many of you, I'm a lifelong Penn Stater. I have bled blue and white since the very day that I was born. And because of this, it's been really difficult for me to endure all of the judgments and condemnations that have really poured down on our university over the past few years. And of course, I'm talking about those criticisms that have stemmed from the child sex abuse scandal in 2011. It was a truly devastating period in the history of our university and really heart-wrenching for anyone that affiliates themselves with Penn State. But what I want to impart to you today is that although it was tragic and devastating, Penn State is okay. And in fact, we're more than okay. The tragedy has compelled and inspired our university to better embody commitment to academics and success with honor. But like I said, before these improvements came the endless criticisms, and if we take a moment to step back and really look at them, we see that they all centered around one idea, and it's what I like to call football centrism, which is simply a word that describes the centrality of football in Penn State culture. And it's a quality that critics in the media really latched onto and held accountable for the ability of the scandal to occur in the first place. And it was critics like the NCAA who in their report and findings on the matter said that, indeed, the reverence of Penn State football permeated every level of the university community. But rising out of the ashes of this firestorm of chaos and criticism and attention, we witnessed a desire to shy away from the slippery slope, to change what defines Penn State and make it more fully embody academics, athletics, and honor in equal proportions. And we see this desire manifested in a series of recent initiatives, and you're quite familiar with all of them. In the fall of 2012, Penn State began its One Team campaign, which sought to promote a united front for all of Penn State athletics to make sure that no one single team grew greater than any other in the eyes of the public. After that, we saw later that year the rise in prevalence of new posters sporting the phrase "proud to support Penn State academics," which really sought to hone in on the importance of scholastic endeavor. But their purpose is much, much deeper than that. They seek to correct the idea that all we're proud of as Penn Staters is our football program, which we all know is simply not true. Finally, this past fall came the Penn State Lives Here branding initiative, which introduced a slew of new posters and a brand new promotional video. Now, interestingly, if we take a look at this video, we see that the football team was mentioned only once for a brief 3 seconds. In contrast, Thon was mentioned 3 times for a total of 15 seconds. So you see that the creators of even Penn State Lives Here understood what was going on. They were pushing forward with this movement, trying to represent our school without relying on the tradition of its football program to allure prospective students. Now, if we really take another step back and look at these initiatives, we see that they were set forth by the very university itself. But the heart and soul of Penn State culture embodied and embraced them. And that's represented by the actions of people like you and I, students, faculty, alumni, fans, people all across Pennsylvania. So to show this, how many of you have clothes that say One Team on them? Right? Okay. How many of you are heavily involved with Thon? Exactly. And so you're beginning to see that this wasn't simply an evolution of trends, but a deeply rooted, fundamental change in the perception of Penn State. And our actions, along with those of people around us, really demonstrate that effectively. Now, I get really excited in thinking about this idea of change and all these improvements, and I like to share the idea with other people. But in doing that, I come across quite a bit of skeptics, and one of those is my own mother, actually. And she, along with others, tell me that they don't think we've actually moved away from this slippery slope, that football centrism is still a problem. And I certainly understand that there will always be diehard football centrists at Penn State, and I actually think that this is effectively demonstrated by the fact that we just retired the jersey of our one and only Heisman Trophy winner, John Cappelletti, showing that maybe some people hold football a bit too high still, that we're idolizing it to some degree. But regardless, I think that these new initiatives will continue to make their mark. They'll encourage people to see all that Penn State has to offer beyond the football field. And my favorite beneficiary of this movement, one of the benefits that comes, is from the Penn State women's volleyball program, which has had tremendous success over the past decade. And the public has really taken this in and run with it. Penn State women's volleyball in 2003 averaged about 2,600 people at each of its home contests. Today, well over 3,100 people come to each home match. And so you're beginning to see that this movement is allowing other programs at Penn State, other teams, to have success, because people aren't okay with just pouring all of their support into football anymore. It's opened a brand new door, and it's a sign of hope in moving forward. But it's not just with the athletic department. it's with academics as well. Penn State continues to improve in the eyes of professionals. Each fall, U.S. News releases a ranking of colleges and universities throughout the country. This past fall, Penn State was ranked number 37. That's 9 spots higher than we were last year. And we're going to continue to see these improvements into the future across the board in every facet of the university's culture. Now, in thinking about these improvements and this idea of change and putting my thoughts together today, something kept coming back to me, and it's a line from our alma mater. May no act of ours bring shame. And I think about it in this new context, and it really gives me the chills. Of course, the events of the sex abuse scandal were inexcusable, and we can only hope that they'll never happen anywhere again in the future. But by no means did the event doom Penn State. And in fact, the future is bright. And if I leave you with anything today, I really hope that that's it. Our university has taken the initiative to better itself. And whether we agree on the origins of that desire to do so or not, we can't disagree that there are new improvements here to stay. So take advantage of all the opportunities that are presented to you and always be passionate, because I certainly love Penn State and I know that you all do too. So indeed, may no act of ours bring shame, and let's move onward, State. Thank you.